Good morning, everyone. Give me 1 second so I can go ahead and get everything situated. We'll go ahead and get started. I hope everybody's doing very well on this Friday morning. As you see in the title,
So I can go ahead and get everything situated. We'll go ahead and
okay. As you see in the title, we actually ended up making $800 this morning. I ended up doing it on the indices. Very happy about that. The best thing about it was fully automated, meaning that, quite frankly, whether if I was making it, if I was up or not, the trade would have been taken because that's what the system does. It's built to be able to work without you. So we'll get into that a little bit, and we'll go from there. So hopefully everybody's doing very well. And I just got to do one more thing, and then after that we'll get started. Okay, and here. All right, here we go. And we are live. This is Travis Witherspoon from Carter Cow Trading. That's on YouTube and on Facebook. This is my personal page, Travis Witherspoon. Obviously, Trade with Travis on YouTube. Hope everybody's doing very well. Let's go ahead and get through the disclaimer. And then after that, let's see if we can find any trading pairs on this Friday morning. Remember, Fridays are get in and get out days, but let's see if we can find something. So I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from that education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. I understand that Forex involves risk. It involves risk of being given to make money, also involves risk of being given to lose money, so please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, not promised that you can end up making money today. So with that being said, showing myself onto the screen, I see myself pop up on YouTube. How you doing, everybody on YouTube? I see everybody on Instagram. For the people that are going to end up watching this a little bit later on, hey, how you doing? I hope everybody's doing very well. And obviously, I see everybody on Facebook. 7 o'clock is good morning. People that have been trading since 2 o'clock. Quite frankly, they're probably asleep and everything else by now. So it's good for everyone to be able to get started. You have not been with us before. What we do here with Trade with Travis in the mornings is that we take a look at U.S.-based pairs. We take a look at the indices, and we try to see if there's any trading opportunities from this 7 o'clock to 7:30 time frame. If we do not have a trading opportunity, then I give you a game plan on what to be able to do. And then from the game plan, obviously, you can be able to make your informed decision to be able to trade it or not. If you decide not to and you just use this for education, then absolutely, that's one thing that you can be able to do. But overall, the one thing that we want to be able to do is make money together, and being able to do that, if we can be able to do that overall, obviously you can be able to create some type of residual income. If you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more about what we do from a day-to-day basis and how to be able to trade, you can be able to hop inside of our Believe in Yourself Bootcamp, which is going to start November 23rd and November 27th. It's going to go from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's going to be a live session, so quite frankly, we're not going to be inside of a room or anything else like that. I'm going to be inside of my office. Obviously, you can be on your phone or anywhere else like that, eating your Thanksgiving dinner or anything else like that, learning how to be able to trade, learning how to be able to create passive income. And that's the greatest thing that I think Forex does. Forex and this trading does in general allows you to be able to create passive income. It allows you to be able to generate funds that you couldn't be able to make, or return on investment that you couldn't be able to make anywhere else, especially not working at a job or putting your money in a bank or anything else like that. So we talk about those strategies here each and every day and being able to do that. If you're interested in being able to learn a little bit more, obviously you can go to the events page, which I'm getting ready to place the events page right here. It breaks down what we're going to do each and every day from this session. There it is on Facebook. We want to see what it is on YouTube. Here it is on YouTube. Obviously on Instagram, if you want to be able to see it a little bit more, all you have to do is just go to Trade with Travis on YouTube and be able to go from there. So let's get into it. How did I make $800 in my sleep? What do we end up doing? Well, it's called automated trading. If you're not familiar with automated trading, what happens is that when you end up trading, there's a system that you can be able to put together, and from that system, it allows you to be able to trade based off a system of code. Based off of that system of code, what ends up happening is you give it defined rules, and from those defined rules, then what happens is that basically trades for you. And this is one of our EAs that we have put together. This is based off of the SPX and the NAS 100. A little bit earlier today, we actually ended up making $765 based off of this overall move. Just closed out on this a little bit earlier this morning, and also ended up doing it based off of the Also end up doing it based off the Nas 100. Best thing about this, more importantly, when you're trading this, is that you do not have to be in front of the computer to be able to get it done. All you have to do is click on a button, auto trade, and be able to go from there. You like what we end up talking about? We can be able to talk about that a little bit more going through. So that's good to hear. But let's go ahead and get into the trade. Let's go ahead and get into trades. I don't want to waste all of my time on that. We'll talk about that while we go through it. All right. So what's happening on the economic calendar? Obviously, if we're looking at the overall market, we can see what ended up happening yesterday was that we ended up having a traders day. A fundamentals day. We also ended up having continuing jobless claims. That was actually good. The consumer price index was bad, and the consumer price index year over year was bad. Now, that's kind of expected based off of what ended up happening overall and being able to take a look at it. But, I mean, just looking at what's happening, obviously, we can be able to go from there. Jay, what's going on? Flaco, Blanco, I hope I said that right. Hopefully, everything's going well with you as well. People on also people on YouTube, type in your questions. Obviously, if there's a trading pair you're interested in being able to look at, obviously we can be able to go over that. So a little bit earlier today, we ended up having GDP for the Eurozone. That one it just missed what it was expected to be. Also, it just missed what it was expected to be from a year-over-year standpoint. So quarter-over-quarter and year-over-year is still bad. Once again, I think that's kind of a reprieve based off of what's been happening over the course of the whole year with the global pandemic. A little bit later on today, we're going to end up having a Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index. That's not necessarily, it's high impact news, but it's not necessarily as high as what you think. I think that will affect stocks more than it would affect the Forex market in general. So when looking at the US 30, look at the Nas 100 and all of those pairs, you will see probably a move more off of that based off of that. That will happen at 10 o'clock this morning. Let's take a look at the big three. Remember, when you end up taking a look at the big three, what they end up representing is being able to take a look at three main pairs that we look at for trading. Those three main pairs that we look at for trading is the US dollar. We end up taking a look at, with oil, we end up taking a look at the Canadian dollar. And also when we take a look at gold, you look at the Japanese yen. And also you take a look at what's happening with the Australian dollar. So when we end up taking a look at these indexes, we can kind of get an idea about what is going to happen with the pairs. And we can easily kind of figure out based off of that if we want to be able to trade these overall pairs overall just by being able to take a look at these indexes. So a kind of a way to be able to help you out and kind of allow you to be able to get on and off the charts, kind of how fast we end up doing it each and every day. So what are we looking at? U.S. dollar index, we're expecting for the market to keep on falling. It ended up breaking out of this overall consolidation area. From there, it actually ended up, once you end up having a breakout, typically you have a resistance. Typically you have a retest. The market has tried to retest and tried to break past its overall support zone at 11,975. It has not happened as of yet. That's something that we actually expected and expect that the market was going to end up going down. So what does that mean when it comes down to U.S.-based pairs? We're actually trying to sell on the dollar. That means that we're trying to go against the dollar on most of the pairs that we're looking at. So like the U.S. yen, you want to sell on the yen because you believe that the U.S. dollar is weak. So we're looking at this overall pair. The market is expected to fall down to the weekly de-extension at 11,565. That may end up happening before the end of the year. So pairs like gold, pairs like silver, the indices and everything else for the stock market should go up. The dollar should go down. Bitcoin should go up. Right? Everything that's trading against the dollar should actually go down at this particular point. Hearing, thank you for the like always, man. As we're looking through that, let's take a look at the daily. When we're taking a look at the daily, overall, we can see what's actually happening. The dollar was actually in the buy zone on the daily, even though the market is compared to be down. So we expect to see a little bit of retracement. Right now, we can see that the market has went up past the 11,975 area, almost up to that 11,991 area. But it has not broken. It has not broken into this consolidation anymore. If it's not going to break into this consolidation and this market moves into the sell zone, then that means that this market has rejected this overall zone. And if it rejects this overall zone, then it's going to fall even harder than what it did last week for its overall movement, especially if there's some type of catalyst. So overall, I still think that the dollar is weak. If you're looking at being able to buy on the dollar, it's not necessarily the greatest thing to be able to do. So I'm going to kind of stay away from being able to buy on the dollar for its overall pairs. I will look at being able to sell overall on the U.S. dollar in general. So U.S. dollar is considered to be weak. Let's take a look at oil. We talked about this. We talked about this yesterday. We said that oil was basically And I want to start off the weekly, and then after that, I get back into it. But I want to move a little bit faster than what we did yesterday. Thought we did a little bit too long. Market went through a ascending triangle. Then after that, went through consolidation. Once it went through consolidation, then after that, it ended up breaking the overall support. It failed the first time that it was going to end up breaking that actual holding that support and actually retesting. So it went back into consolidation. It broke past resistance, and then after that, failed to stay above resistance. So right now, it's back inside of the consolidation area. From there, there's only two rules when it comes down to consolidation. It's buy support, sell at resistance. That's the only two rules that matters. If you don't catch it at the resistance level, then that means that you don't trade it. If you don't catch it at the support level, then that means that you don't trade it, because that means that your probability goes down when it comes down to being able to trade overall. Hopefully that makes sense to the people that are not inside of the master class or the boot camp class, or have not went inside of any of our webinars before. But what does that mean? Currently, right now, the weekly is in a no trade zone based off of where it is today. Where it was yesterday, it was actually in a very good area to be able to sell. And if you was inside of our master class, or if you was part of our inner circle when it comes down to that group, you actually end up getting a sell entry based off of what we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, we ended up saying that the market was pretty much right here at 42.21. The market ended up rejecting it. It rejected right here, right around that 41.30 area. We seen that at 7:30 in the morning. We said that if we got a 2-hour counter trend line break, then that was the trade to be able to take. And that's exactly what we end up getting. We end up getting that right here on this candlestick that happened right around 1 o'clock. The signal ended up getting sent out to everyone right around 1 o'clock on that signal. We end up selling right around that 41.37 area. And since then, the market has dropped. At this particular point, the market has dropped about 91 pips. I usually look at my phone when it comes down to this overall pair and seeing how much I'm up. So I'm not able to look at it at this particular point in time. But I know I'm up at least 100 pips on one and about 80 pips on the other one. So either way, we're still looking at good movement. Now, what is expected? Since the market is in consolidation and we go based off of previous movement, what we need to do is shrink the chart down. If we shrink the chart down, we can see that the market has fell down to this 37 area before multiple times. If this market continues to fall past 37, then that means that the market will end up going to the daily D extension now, which is moved up to 34.75. So our D extension, our take profit value right now is at 34.75. We are aware that if the market breaks past support, then that means that it's going to end up hitting right around $35 a barrel. If it hits $35 a barrel, then that means that we complete this overall movement. And we also end up making our full profit based off of this move. And obviously, everyone would be happy if we end up hitting the full profit, because that's about 654 pips away. 654 pips away off of $1 a pip is basically $654, right? Off of one click and being able to go from there. That's how you end up creating residual income, right? That's how you end up creating passive income. Being able to do the work one time, get away from it, allow the computer to do its thing, allow the market to be able to do its thing if you trade the right way. So that's what we're looking for right here. The market is still moving. Is there a position to be able to get into right now? Right now, no, because the market's in the middle of consolidation. So we should not be looking at that at all. All right. Take a look at gold. Gold is in a position. It's in a position overall where we're looking to be able to buy. We've been talking about this for a while now, saying that as long as gold holds this overall support, then we have an area that we should be looking to be able to buy long term. Currently, the market right now is at 1881. I know for my EA, I allowed this one to be able to handle that, and I'm actually looking at being able to buy long term. But for some reason, my EA started to take a little bit of sales because it started to see a little bit of consolidation. So this is one of those situations to where I might have to make a decision and be like, okay, well, I only want to look at all buys, and I might need to get rid of some of my sales. If I do that, then I lose out on some of the short positions, and obviously I'll be able to hold on some of the long positions. But I'm not going to make that decision as of yet. Now, and the reason why I'm not going to make that decision as of yet is because this reason right here. We can see that the market has broken past the trend line and it's holding at this trend line. That's a good thing. All right, that's number one. That's the best thing to look at right now. If we go to the daily, we can see that this market has broken past its overall resistance again at 1881. Well, that spells out very good news, and that spells out that it's actually time to go when it comes down to overall trading this. If for some people that actually know what I mean, it's really time to go when it comes down to this. The market end up breaking out of this overall area. If it breaks out and it holds this area today going into next week, then we should expect upside movement to the upside movement. Now, what we'll probably see is that on Sunday, the market will probably open up inside of the buy zone. If the market opens up inside of the buy zone on this overall pair, then that means that I expect that this market is going to absolutely explode. So I might end up making an early decision and saying that we need to go ahead and make that move, because I can see that I can see that silver is actually making this move right now. And it may mean that we take a short loss, but that may mean that we can be able to get into our buy trades and be able to ride this out a little bit longer. And once again, to the people that know that, to the people that know what I actually mean, that's what I'm talking about right now. So I'm going to end up making that decision. Probably going to end up making that decision very quickly. If the market keeps on doing what it's doing, because that means that it's going to end up pushing out of this zone. It's probably going to end up exploding before we get a chance to be able to make any type of move. So I'm gonna make that move probably. Matter of fact, I'm gonna end up doing it now. Let's see. Let's do this real quick. I'm gonna turn my system to only longs on gold and on silver. I'm gonna close my losses on silver. I'm gonna close my losses on gold. It's a risk, but I believe that right now, I think that's the best thing to be able to do. And even though I might take a short loss, I think that I'll be able to have a better chance to be able to get in buys overall. So that's personally what I'm going to end up doing. Like I said, for the people that know what I actually mean, then yeah, I'm going to take a hit right here. That sucks, but I'd rather take a hit and know that I can be able to get in the buys right here. Market is actually exploding on silver right now as we speak. Let's see. And we need to start looking at being able to buy. Really need to start looking at being able to buy. Okay, so took a loss on gold. That's the first loss that I took on this actual pair. Sucks, but it is what it is. I am looking to buy long term, but I think that if I don't catch this move right now, then I'm probably not going to be able to get into it the way that I want to. So silver took a small little hit on that one. That basically ends up taking a little bit of the loss that I ended up having, or a little bit of the win that I ended up having yesterday out. But I think once again it ended up being worth it. Let's see properties. I don't want to go long. Okay. And right now, I'm just waiting for the pair to be able to pick up on some buy trades. If we pick up on some buy trades, then we'll be good to go. But gold is actually making its move right now, and really, there's no reason not to look at being able to get in the gold right now as we speak. So that's where we are. Let's see. Let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. Now, what are we expecting with gold? And quite frankly, I'm going to end up placing this on. Well, I can't place it on this one because that's automated. What are we looking at gold? We're saying that gold is expected to go ahead and make its push up out of this overall zone. Long term, we expect that gold is going to end up basically pushing all the way up to the 2325 area. I think that's going to end up happening long term. Right now, we do have a break out of this overall area. Going into Friday, going into Monday, I think this is a very good move long term to be able to get into. And if I take the short loss right now to be able to get my trades in, then I think that it'll be well worth it being able to buy it to the upside. Now, obviously, taking a loss, I mean, it is what it is. Just a short loss. But if we end up getting into this pair and it remains to be up, then quite frankly, it will make sense to be able to stay in that trade. So that's where we are when it comes down to that. So took a loss on gold, took a loss on silver for a short trade. So I'm looking at being able to buy long term. And once that happens, then after that, we'll be good to go for its overall pairs. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward real quick. I want to take a look at the NASDAQ 100. Obviously, we end up taking a look at this a little bit earlier. We got 10 minutes. We can be able to get through about 10 charts. I believe we can get through about 10 charts in that amount of time. All right, so what's happening with the Nasdaq? Nasdaq, we look at the weekly. The market is expected to still be bearish. We look at the daily. We see that the market is still in the no trade zone and still pushing up bullish. When I'm looking at this overall market currently right now is in the no trade zone. With it being in a no trade zone, there's really no trade to be able to take on the daily. So if there's no trade to take on the daily, then I'm not going to look at it on the weekly. Okay, and we'll go from there. Let's take a look at the U.S. base pairs real quick. I want to start with the Euro United States dollar because the GDP actually ended up coming out with that a little bit earlier, so we could be able to make a decision on what's going on with that. Let's see. We look at US CAD. What do we see? Market has broken a counter trend line bullish. It basically is in the buy zone on the daily. It actually ended up there was a bearish crown that was actually being created. Since then, the market has pushed back up. We end up talking about this market. This market was probably going to end up basically bouncing at the 130 area. That's exactly what ended up happening. Now, the question is, where's the market going to end up going? And the only way that you can be able to look at that is by looking at it based off the weekly. I still believe that this market is considered to be bearish. And once again, I consider every market right now for the U.S. dollar to be bearish overall, aside from the U.S. Swiss franc. The U.S. Swiss franc is in a long-term consolidation area. So I will look at that one a little bit more towards towards the upside when it comes down to that pair. So what's happening on this one? We see that this market on the weekly is still in consolidation. Basically end up breaking out of this over area. If it keeps on breaking down to the downside, it's going to go to 127.85. So right now, really no trade to be able to take on that one. Let's take a look at the U.S. yen. U.S. yen market ended up pushing up. Market ended up pushing up to the 105.50 area. We end up talking about how we wanted pending sales up in that area because it has been resistance. 2 days ago, if we would have caught that position, it would have hit it. It would have hit right at that position overall. Remember, we actually end up saying that this market ends up breaking past 104. Then the market was going to end up continuing push past to the downside. So I am still interested in being able to sell this one. So on the 2 hour, do we have a position to be able to get into? This market is holding at 105 and it's holding support at 105 after that breakout that ended up happening on Monday. So what I would look for, I will look to try to see if we can be able to get a high price anywhere around that 105.25 area or anywhere else like that to be able to sell down to the downside. If not, then quite frankly, I would just wait. I would just wait to see what we could be able to do overall. Right now, I just don't like the position as we're looking at it right now, and I will stay away from that. Euro United States dollar. Euro United States dollar is still in consolidation. The daily is now in the consolidation no trade zone. So that means that once again, there's no trade to be able to take. Either we're getting it at resistance or we're getting that support. So we're going to stay away from that pair as well. US Swiss franc. US Swiss franc end up bouncing up past and tried to get past 92. Did not do that. The high was at 91.91. Currently overall right now, what we're looking at is that, let's see, switch those back to hourly charts. Currently right now, what we're looking at is the market's in the no trade zone. If we can see this market kind of fall down a little bit, obviously I would like to be able to take it. This is a long-term trade. You're talking about this would be a 6, 7, 8 month trade, trying to be able to trade it back up to parity, which will end up being at 1.00. You can be able to do that, then that's fine. Right now, the market's in the no trade zone, but it's in consolidation. So the stochastic really doesn't matter when the market's in that area. So what I will look for overall is that I would wait for the market to be able to give us an opportunity to be able to get a low price. If we get that low price, then we end up taking that. We end up taking that buy. We should have took the buy on Monday when the market was below 90. Would have been up 174 pips. Quite frankly, we could have closed out on that. Could have made $174 very easily. But sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes you just have to make that. You have to make that move very quickly. And if you don't, then it is what it is. that happens sometimes. You just got to know that. Australian dollar, United States dollar. We take a look at this overall pair. We see that the market ended up breaking out of the overall resistance area. If it broke out of the overall resistance area long term, the market was expected to go to 77.25. Currently, the market's at 72.50 right now. We go to the daily and take a look at this overall pair. We see that breakout and now we see a retest of this overall move. The only reason why I don't want to look to be able to buy on this one is because the market is in the sell zone. So that means that we should see this market kind of hover around this overall area. If it breaks a counter trend line break, kind of like what's happening with gold, you may end up seeing a push up to the upside and being able to trade that particular spot. So when we're looking at the Australian dollar, we're not there yet either. Look at what's happening with the pound. The pound is rejecting or retracing based off of hitting a sub-daily D extension. The market is in the sell zone. We expect that the market is going to end up eventually falling. As it falls, then after that, we'll look to see if there's an actual position to be able to get into long-term for its buying. Right now, we don't have that position, so there's nothing to be able to do off of that overall position. We just went through all of the U.S. pairs aside from the New Zealand dollar, United States dollar. We're getting ready to go through that one real quick as a game plan of being able to talk about what's going to end up happening next week. Because quite frankly, there's really no trade today as we look at it going forward. New Zealand dollar, United States dollar. We see that the market is still considered to be bullish. At this particular point, the market is in an R3 zone. It has broken out of this overall resistance area. Had a huge move to the upside for the week, and then after that, slowly start to retrace. So that's your breakout, and that's your retest. We take a look at the daily. We can see that retest happening right here. It's the same thing that is happening with the Australian dollar. We see that the market is basically hovering around 68, right around 6,800. So we should see going into next week if the market holds above 6,800 or stays right in that area, and then after that pushes back up, then we should see the market go up to 7,300, which is basically a point of control. So right now, that is the moves that we're looking at overall. I do like the positions, but I don't like, I'm not interested in being able to get into it right now based off of those positions. So we'll hold based off of what we see right now. And then after that, if we have an opportunity to be able to get in on them, then we will. Got 3 minutes left. So let's take a look at some of the indices pairs, and then let's see if we have anything. I don't see any questions from anybody. So I'm not going to, obviously, we'll just go through and finish up on this. Let's look at the SPX 500. SPX 500, if we're looking at this right now, this market made a beautiful W pattern. And that is a absolutely gorgeous W pattern that I'm looking at right now. But this also means that we're starting consolidation on a daily. If we're looking at consolidation based off of this move, then this market should fall back down to overall support, which would be at 32.27. Currently, the market is in the sell zone, so I would kind of be a little bit more biased in being able to look at sales because it has rejected pretty much at the same spot, as where the market actually ended up moving. I will consider this to be consolidation. I will look at being able to sell overall. If we can be able to sell, then quite frankly, you have a position to be able to get into. If you don't look at it, if you're looking at buying, quite frankly, this is not the time to be able to do so. You will probably need to wait 7 to 11 days to even think about being able to buy, unless the market just breaks out of this area. It tried to break out. On Monday. Quickly rejected and fell back in this overall zone. I think that the market's going to fall, which means that the U.S. dollar should actually get stronger, which means that, quite frankly, I just gave up some money on gold and silver, if that's considered to be the point. But we'll look and see when it comes down to that. Obviously, I make my decisions on my own trading pairs. Everybody else can make their own decisions on what they want to do with that. And I mean, if we don't agree, then that's the whole purpose of being able to trade. That's the reason why you have your own money to be able to do so. If we look at it, the US 30, which will be our last pair today. We done went through a lot of pairs today. We can see that the market is in the sell zone as well. We're seeing another W pattern. A beautiful move right here. This is not necessarily as close as being able to say that this market is in a resistance type of area. I'm sorry, in a consolidation type of move. All right, come on now. if we just look at this move overall, we can see that the market is probably just going to end up breaking a counter trend line break and probably falling back to that overall area again. So that's what we're looking for overall. My son wanted to be Iron Man this morning because that's what he was for Halloween, and absolutely loves this. Well, they love Halloween. Go figure. So what are we looking for? Counter trend line break, if we can be able to get it. You get the counter trend line break, in which we have it right now. Look for a break on the 2 hour. You have a high price on the 2 hour. Then after that, I will look at being able to sell. One thing that I do see, more importantly than anything else, come on, baby, cut it out. Mason, stop. One thing I see more than anything else is that the market has broken past the 50-day moving average. And then from breaking past the 50-day moving average, it's basically it's about to start rejecting past that 50-day moving average. If that does fall, then basically we have a gap play right here. That gap will end up being from the 50-day moving average to the 200-day moving average, which will end up being right around, we're talking about this movement overall we're looking at this movement overall towards the downside. We're talking about right around 1,200 points for its movement to the downside. I'm looking at being able to trade it from there. All right, so my son is getting a little bit restless, and we're pretty much done with this session. So I'm going to go ahead and close out. If you like what we end up doing, please make sure that you like the Carter Cow Trading Business page. Please make sure that you end up subscribing on. Hey, dude, come on. Please make sure that you end up subscribing on YouTube with Trade with Travis. Obviously, for the people that are in my masterclass and in my investment group and everything else like that, obviously we end up having conversations and strategy meetings on what we probably should do. Like always, plan your trade your plan. I'll see each and every one of y'all on Monday. Take it easy. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There we go.